Impala Platinum is the world's second largest platinum producer, with mines in South Africa and on the Great Dyke in Zimbabwe and a refinery in Springs. It has a market cap of 80 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 9 and a dividend yield of 4.4%. Let's start off with Implats, Zimplats operation. How do you look at that with the whole indigenization program going on in Zimbabwe at this stage?
Well, it's a big problem. Look, obviously that asset was around for a long time. They didn't realize a couple of decades ago just how much platinum there was there and how attractive it is in terms of its proximity to the ground. So fabulous, world-class asset, the Great Dyke in Zimbabwe. It was owned, ironically, by various companies, including Billiton, who eventually kicked it out. Impala picked it up, and they own 80% of Zimplats. But it's a huge, huge problem because the Zimbabweans are fond of poverty. They think that it's a good idea to indigenize all of their productive assets. You know, there's a big political problem in Zimbabwe where they like to blame their problems on everyone else. But in reality, they don't seem to be keen on foreign investment, and they're not really playing their cards right. So they've, you know, basically taken more and more and more of Zimplats without giving any indication that they have the money or the intention to pay for it. So the capital injections have been stalled, and I just don't know how that's going to be resolved. So it's a huge disappointment for Impala and for Impala shareholders because they've sunk a lot of money in there, and it just doesn't show up on the company valuations anymore.
Doesn't show up on the company valuation. So what does it mean?
A law of diminishing returns. And the problem is great promises are made by the government, not only the Zimbabwean government, but several others in a similar situation, that they realize they can't develop the mineral rights or the agricultural potential or wherever and ask foreigners in. Great promises, yes, you get on with it, just pay us the dividends. But then what happens, as soon as it seemed to be a success, they say, oh, look at that, we've got nothing else, we'll have some of that. And I think that's just what was being pointed out. It's a no-win situation.
And over here in South Africa, Implats is also plagued with strikes. So that's another factor that's affecting Impala Platinum here. Yeah,
and look, the unionization thing, I'm not quite sure who to blame for that, because the manner and nature of the labor relations on South African mines is deeply, deeply dysfunctional. For many years, it suited the mines simply to recruit people in from the hinterland, to put them up in hostels, send them underground, and send them home when they weren't well enough to work anymore. So now they complain about the fact that the mine workers are unruly and that they respond to unionization. Well, you know, what did you expect? So now there's a situation on the ground where the National Union of Mine Workers is losing ground compared to another union called AMCU, which is even more radicalized and crazy than the NUM is. So it's not going to get better. But they have big capital expansion plans. They're building number 70 and number 20 shaft. So they've got fabulous assets here, and they're a credible, well-managed operation, haven't had the same operational challenges that Anglo-Plats has. So in some ways, I prefer them of the two.
But you'd find that lots of these platinum producers, Paul, they've got capex out there, but productivity is just not coming to the fore. Your thoughts?
That's absolutely right. But I think that when they were operating under reasonable labor relations, without the political problems that they've been having, that Implats, on a productivity basis, gave the impression that they were better organized or more efficient. Their cost per unit was perhaps more favorable than Implats, and I think that that is, of course, because they were developing at an earlier stage. But I would have it as a preference, prefer Implats on the longer term only.
I'm not sure whether we should refer to the graph because it seems like a
similar pattern and similarly tailing off and not looking very rosy right now, no.
Yeah. Are you another not hot?
Well, I don't know. I feel a bit conflicted because I think overall, globally, platinum sales are going to be quite strong, and I think people underestimate the extent of the platinum sales that are coming through auto sales in China. And I think there's no realistic alternative to the internal combustion engine because for another reason, people don't want centralized cheap electricity production, which you need for electric vehicles. So I think, I know I sort of signal differently, but I'm more inclined, in fact, to go hot on Impala.
Hot on Impala. Your thoughts, Ian? Hot or not?
No, I'm still only lukewarm on Impala, but then I should have said cold on Implats. That's the difference I'd see between them.
There's no lukewarm because we need to get a sound going. Hot or not?
Cold, not.
Not hot.
Not hot.
Well, not hot on Impala from Ian and hot from Paul for Impala Platinum.